Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer. And guys, welcome back to Road to Comic of the Year 2014, where after grouping number one, I had a great turnout. And hopefully, group number two will be even better, and three will be better, and four will be better. But before we get into grouping number two, I want to give you guys the results of group number one. Now, the votes came in all the way up until yesterday. And remember, fans, when I do a new grouping, you have up until the following Monday to put your vote in. So let's hope that we get even more votes for group number two. And let me just tell you, there was a battle between the top two comics on who was going to get nominated for Comic of the Year. And it was really close, and it came down to the final vote. But let's see what books didn't make the cut to nomination of Comic of the Year. So, the first book that didn't make it or didn't get nominated was, unfortunately, Grim Tales of Terror, issue number one. Actually, there was no votes for this book to get nominated for Comic of the Year. However, it is a great series, fans, and I suggest that maybe you pick it up and read it. If you're a horror fan, I feel that you might enjoy this series. But this did not make it. All right, so next, a book that I was surprisingly shocked that didn't get any votes, but it's going against some heavy hitters, and that was Fantastic Four, issue number one. This book really focused on a lot of types of different direction that the Fantastic Four was going, how they were disassembled and whatnot. Great artwork for a very first issue. You could see the darker tone for this group. Unfortunately, not a single vote. Sorry, Fantastic Four, you're not nominated. All right, next we got one vote for this particular book, and that was Daredevil issue number 35. That's right, fans. One vote for this book. It was a solid book as far as I remember. Had to deal with, I think, Daredevil revealing himself in the courtroom. I think that was going on in this particular issue. Solid issue, but again, did not make did not make nominations for Comic of the Year. All right, another book that was not nominated for Comic of the Year was Harley Quinn, issue number 4. This book did get some votes. It got a couple of votes, which it was a very fun issue. Harley Quinn can be a hit or miss series, but was it, Comic of the Year material? I don't think so, and a lot of you others didn't think as well. So next, the book that made the wild card round. And it was between two books, guys. It was between Superior Spider-Man, issue number 30, and Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 1. Now, regardless of what happens, one book makes it to nominated for Comic of the Year, and one book goes to the wild card round, which means it'll have a second chance to get in the nominations. And that book was, by one vote that fell short, was Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 1. Fell short by one vote. Crazy stuff. I was looking down the voting, and yep, it did fall short by one. So, which means this will be in your wild card round, so it's not out yet. You'll have a second chance to vote for this one, but it will be tough with those wild card books. But the book that's guaranteed to be nominated, Comic of the Year, everybody, and you voted for it, Superior Spider-Man, issue number 30, which I'm very happy about. The only way I get a vote in this is if it becomes a tie. And there was no tie here. Superior Spider-Man won by one vote, and this was the return of Peter Parker. This is where Dr. Octopus admitted that he was wrong and basically says, Peter, you can come out of the mindscape, and we got to receive the return of Peter Parker after 30 issues of Superior Spider-Man. So it was really cool to see that, and this was a great story here. I remember me doing a review on this, and I was almost teared up when I actually saw this. Great book. I am happy you guys picked it to be nominated Comic of the Year. All right, so there you have it. There's the results for group number 1. We're going to go on to group number 2. Remember, you have up until next Monday to put your votes in. So here we go. Group number 2. Might be a weaker group this time around. Just happened to be how it fell. So first off, we're going to start with Chew. Wario Chicken Pollo. Chew is a favorite comic of mine, and it must have been a light week that week for Chew to make it in my number 1 pick for the week. But however, the book is always comical, has a lot of Easter eggs in here if you're familiar with what's going on. Had to do with Agent Pollo going after these types of different types of people that made all these vegetables and stuff like that. Crazy stuff. I doubt it will get in that nomination bracket, but it did make it in a top spot 1 week, so that will be in the category. So the next book is Justice League issue number 31. This introduces who the new Power Ring was in this issue, which was Jessica Cruz, if you guys remember her. This wasn't too long ago, so hopefully this is kind of still fresh in your minds. And then this had to deal with Lex Luthor finding out who Bruce Wayne really was and how he was Batman and how the two were going back and forth. So that is book number 2 there, Justice League issue number 31. Now remember, if you want this to be nominated for Comic of the Year, go ahead and put your votes in now, fans. Go ahead and do that. Next book that we're going to talk about is The Superior Spider-Man issue number 33. This got number 1 on one of my countdowns of the week. If you guys want this nominated for Comic of the Year, go ahead and do it. As you remember, this was the introduction to really one of the Spider-Verse titles that gets you excited about all the different Spider-Men that were in this universe and how they were teaming up with Doc Ock, Superior Spider-Man in the issue. So you really get to see things unfold here. This was one of my favorite issues of the week. If you guys want to see that nominated for Comic of the Year, again, please vote for this book. All right, next we're going to go to the next book, and that was New 52 Futures End Green Arrow one-shot, the 3D cover there. This was the one book that I felt tied in phenomenally with New 52's Futures End. This was the book where you find out what happens to Oliver McQueen 5 years from now, what happens to Emiko, what happens to Naomi, and what happens to all the other characters that were in Jeff Lemire's run. A lot of you may have been fans of Jeff Lemire's run, and this was a fitting close to his story. And you found out in the issue that you found out how he faked his death based off of the New 52's Future End storyline that's going on, that weekly book. So I thought this was a very well done book, a very good send-off for Jeff Lemire and his run. And again, if you want this nominated for Comic of the Year, guys, please vote for this book. Remember, every vote counts. One vote can make the difference if your favorite book gets nominated. All right, next we go into Nova, issue 13.1. I remember this book. This book had to do with Beta Ray Bill. I loved the character interactions in this book. I love the artwork in this book as well. I love the battle scenes between the two on how they fought each other. This was a really good book. At the time, who was writing this book? Jerry Duggan was writing it, and the artwork is done by Paco Mandina, which was one of my favorite artists on this book. Really solid book. Really enjoyed it. I'm giving this one. I'm rating him like I'm doing a countdown. If you guys want this nominated for Comic of the Year, guys, please vote now. All right. And the last book that we were talking about, that's in grouping number 2 this week, is The Death of Wolverine, issue number 2 of 4. this really lays down the plot of what happens with Death of Wolverine issue number 2. I thought this issue was really well done. This is the issue where we get to see Logan sitting and talking with the girls. The whole Iron Man mask is brought into play. This was a really well done issue. I loved it a lot. This is where you get to see Viper in the issue. Sabretooth was in this issue as well. I thought this was one of the strongest issues that Death of Wolverine had to offer, because it set the tone and what things were to come in this actual series. So if you guys want Death of Wolverine issue number 2 to be nominated for Comic of the Year, please vote. So there you have it, guys. There is group number 2, and you also saw the results for group number 1. Stay tuned next Tuesday for a group number 3 and the results for group number 2. So again, you have up into next Monday night, as in 12, midnight, to vote. So again, every vote counts. So guys, get it in. So as always, fans, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0, and until the next comic book review, vote. It's like election day or something. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.